Hey guys, welcome back to the Talking Shite podcast, the podcast where the guest chooses the topic. Each week we bring someone on to talk about something they're interested in, and hopefully by doing that it'll interest you as well. Our guest this week is none other than the famous, I'm going to say famous, because the famous Emma Morgan, famous in the Community for Geeks circle, famous in the Decapod circle, and of course famous in her own right with her own podcast, The Crazy X Club, which is due to get some new content very, very soon for your faces. Hi, Emma.
Hello, you okay? I was going to say probably infamous is my...
Infamous.
Yeah, infamous in many circles.
Mm-hmm. So you guys might have heard Emma already on the podcast she's done with Terry Cook, which I've now decided to put before this one because it just makes sense.
Oh God, but that's fair. Well, that's fine. That works better for me anyway because it's linear.
Yeah, it is. It's linear. So that you've probably heard Emma Morgan on that one where we talked about Decapod beforehand, but today she's talking about her own podcast and her own take on dating apps, which is interesting because dating apps are something that I can't say I'm very well versed in, but I mean, they work for me at least.
This gets us to a good start then. So yeah, I would say you're really lucky if you're not in requirement of dating apps at the minute. But yeah, we can get on to that.
So you have your own podcast, The Crazy X Club, and which I've been on, and that. How did that start again? What was the idea for that?
Yeah, so basically I started it after my marriage ended. So like a really cheerful reason to start a project or a podcast. But the point for it was, so I'd listened to podcasts for years and years and years. I was going, I want to make one. And it was like a joke between me and my friends, like when they would come and see, like when we would hang out. Have you got it done? Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So like my marriage ending hit me really hard and it was not something that was initiated by me. It was not something I was on board with. So there was a lot to sort of go through, and the whole idea. Oh, this is where it sounds a bit tragic. So the marriage ended after 4 years. So we were not married very long at all, but we'd been together, I think, about a total of 8. So we were together a little bit before we got married as well. So yeah, sure. And I think that was part of the whole. What this is like, we've only been married 4 years. This can't be the end because it's only 4 years. And I can do like a whole episode about how that mindset in itself is toxic, which I can see when I look back on now. But so it came to an end, and the whole idea behind Crazy X Club. So my marriage ended in October of 2019, and by December I was starting to accept, really truly accept it was over, but also like, well, I kind of need something for me because I put everything into being this couple of being Mrs. and I was happy with that being my identity. And it's that whole thing of I need to go back to me and just being me again. And I just wanted something to focus on that wasn't me wallowing at home and crying because my marriage had ended and how that made life so fucking unfair in my tiny brain. So the podcast started from there, and it was actually on the back of a challenge in a Facebook group, and it was this challenge that was set. It was like something that you've wanted to do a long time. You might be a bit scared about it, basically. And I think it was called something like Think It, Fuck It, Do It, because it was basically what this challenge made you do was go, just fuck it, I am doing this. And that's how it came to be. And that literally got me episode 1. And it was also this thing of when I was like deciding what to do it about, I thought I could do something really bitter. So I could kind of go, my ex-husband is this, and this. and the more that I kind of thought about it, that might have been quite cathartic for me. But I think not fair on him to sort of kind of go, air all our sort of dirty laundry and only my side of it. And that's the key thing for me. Only ever my side of a story. So as unfair as I might have thought that was, it isn't fair for me to go out and sort of so I thought, well, actually what I could focus on is feeling a lot better. So maybe I can on how I got myself better. And actually, I think it was actually a year after my marriage ended that I got to this point, not a few months. And I thought, well, I'll share what I did. So I'll share some of the stuff that helped. And that's what my podcast will be. And my podcast started off me holding a mobile phone up to my mouth and recording it, because there's the dinky little app called Anchor. And I think it sort of says podcast out the box. And that is literally what you can do. You can just point your phone at your face, talk, and you press a button, and then Anchor sort of sends it sort of out. So yeah, it was all about, this was a really shit time in my life. I got through it. If you're going through a shit time, have a listen to this, and hopefully it will help you. So it was supposed to be, because I'm a coach. I was going to say in real life, podcasting is also the real world, but my day job is I'm a coach. So it was also trying to flex some coaching stuff and find a way to sort of bring something out from a coaching perspective. So I did season 1, and I got really fed up both of my voice and of my story, because I kind of like, I've talked about this enough. So then I wanted it to be interviews, and that's how we came to meet, because you bravely came on and you shared one of your breakup stories, and we talked about stuff that had helped you. And actually it was the second season of it that made me really, really go, I'm so happy I started this podcast, because the 10 people I met in season 2 were all amazing people, and you all had these really different stories to sort of share with me. And I felt so, I don't know what the word, humbled that people felt trusting enough to sort of come into my space and kind of share some like quite intimate sort of things about that they've got over and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all about, and this is like the key thing as well, it's called Crazy Ex Club, and I call myself the Crazy Ex, and that's like on my social media profiles and things like that. But that is to overcome this idea, this fear that you have, oh, I'm just going to be there. They're going to go off and tell everybody I'm absolutely crazy. I'm going to lose all my friends. I'm going to lose, everybody's just going to think I'm just some crazy person, because they're going to go out and say that about me. It's about embracing that, even if that is what happened, that you're more than that and you can overcome that. So it's about sharing ways to overcome it. Not as some people do, they sort of come in and go, oh, they get in touch with me and go, oh, well, I'll tell you about all my crazy exes. Like, no, that's
I think you might be the crazy ex, actually.
Yeah. And I do kind of go, look, if you want to go down that road, that's fine, but just know I'll get them on. I will find the ex and I will get them on, and they will tell their side of the story. And I kind of always
should have done it. You could have got like 18 more episodes of content. Like,
you imagine
the season finale is just them all in one big Skype call, just look like.
Well, I've always sort of toyed with the idea, and I've spoken to my ex-husband, and so we've toyed with the idea about him coming on at some point.
Yeah.
And we probably will do that at some point in the future as well, if we both get in the space, because we're quite amicable. But
you're in talking terms and stuff. You're not like.
Yeah, well, we have to be really, because we have a child, so we co-parent. So we keep amicable. For him, it's not quite as forced as it used to be. And that would be my other message, is that kind of thing of, if you can, most situations, I think you can get to a point where you can at least look at that person without wanting to remove them from the world or something like that. So, yeah. But yeah, I always say it to my guests, and I say it in the group, crazy ex, not bitter ex. We ain't got time for bitterness, because we're moving on and we're making ourselves the most fabulous versions of ourselves. So who's got time to be bitter? Not me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the message you're putting out there for people is a very, very good one. Especially like I said, I came on, and when we had a talk about it and everything, we kind of already spoke about. If you want to hear that conversation, go listen to season 2 of the Crazy Ex Club, where I talk about my ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, but the thing that and it's going to feel really patronizing, I remember doing the kind of wrap up for that, and we spoke on the Terry episode quite candidly about how much younger you are compared to myself and Terry, who hosts our other podcast. I could not get over the maturity about how you approached your breakup compared to some of the way I acted when I was your age. So I remember being mightily impressed on your episode.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said in your episode that it was because of therapy. Like, males, if you break up with a long-term girlfriend that didn't really break up the way you wanted, go get therapy. Trust me, it fucking helps. That's the whole point of therapy.
I think everybody should get therapy in 5 to 10 year intervals, or sooner if they feel like so. But I think absolutely everybody should go to therapy at least once. I would prefer it if I heard people were going to therapy on a regular kind of, because you just need to do, it's just like your mental health is as important as your physical health. So you would check in on your physical health, I would hope, sort of every 5 years to sort of see how you're doing. And I think it's the same.
You say that. I'm currently sitting with some 34 Bs here, so it's
wow.
It's like, you know, check out. I see my physical health. I don't check on it.
Yeah, but I still think there's just that big of, we push it to one side. So
yeah.
I think I was happy to hear. I think the phrase working on my inner child, and that just makes me sort of, I'm not even a therapist. I just like a therapy junkie almost. But
like I said, I'm going to put you in touch with my therapist. You guys will get along really well.
I've just always got so much out of it as well. So that's normally my starting point. Like again, coming out of a breakup, you've been to therapy yet? Are you going to go have a chat about? Because it's not just, it doesn't have to be almost that, it doesn't have to be CBT, it doesn't have to be that. There's so many different ways that you can approach it as well. So yeah, that tends to be starting point. If anyone comes for support from me, it's like, well, what therapy are you getting?
And we're talking about, mental health and stuff, and I guess it's quite a good segue on to dating apps, because there's an argument out there that dating apps are somewhat kind of bad for your mental health and everything. So what's your take on dating apps?
I would 100% agree that they're bad for your mental health. I've been single 2.5 years, and I have been in and out of dating apps, I think 3 times. So my first sort of iteration, it was when I came out of my marriage, and it was about 3 months afterwards, and that was the first point where I was like, I'm accepting this because I'm going to go out and I'm going to go. And I remember it was Match.com was the first one. And this is the first reason why they're quite sort of almost predatory places.
Oh, yeah.
I think predators can smell vulnerability in a person. And literally, I went on there. This guy must have just been like, well, she seems really vulnerable. So, and he sort of swooped in. So I had a really bad experience with him. And then kind of got my heart broken a couple of times. And some of that is on me and the way that I was, and like for not having boundaries and stuff like that. And then the last couple of times I've been on them, which is more recently, the problem with them is you kind of feel like you have to be on all of them. But by being on all of them, you kind of feed your own ego, because you're constantly like, you're looking for the matches, you're looking for, so Bumble I thought would be a much healthier one, because that's where the woman has to initiate.
I hated Bumble. Sorry, men, if you have an ego, go download Bumble. It's gone. Oh, no, I hated Bumble. I got nothing on Bumble. Absolutely nothing. Same with Badoo. Absolutely nothing.
So Badoo was the craziest one for me. So yeah, Bumble I thought would be better because it's the woman initiating. But all that got me was, I was like, oh my God, men have got it so difficult because they're expected to start all the conversations. And like, I really was able to sort of put myself in that perspective, because I would always read profiles. And actually one of the reasons I would swipe left would be like, if you haven't completed your profile, that is it. If you can't be bothered to tell me what your interests are, I got nothing to sort of initiate. I want something to talk about. And if I've matched, there's something that's come up in that description that makes me want to talk to you, because obviously that's got to be the whole point. And the amount of times you go and you just get, yeah, good, yeah. And so there's that. So you can kind of part that. But yeah, Bumble got me some empathy going for like what it's like to start things. But Badoo is just sordid. So Badoo was the worst one I had for like real players. Like the amount of guys that sort of come in and like literally, hi, how are you? How about we meet up tonight? And this is the other problem with them now, is they've got this kind of underlying hookup.
Yeah, they're just hookup apps.
Yeah, and so Tinder wasn't as bad for me, weirdly, for that, but they've all got this thing where you match with people. And this was like the most, so I'd match someone like, yay. And I was like, oh, they don't live anywhere near me. And it's like, because he's come up, because he's set it to let people know he's in their area. So that if you both can, you can go and hook up, and then he's off back home. And so there's that. And then there's like this a whole new thing that guys in particular are literally, they just swipe right on everybody. So they don't look at profiles. They literally, they match. So then they don't look at your profile until you're a match. And then they might get rid of you because they've not looked at your profile because they just want to see you match. So they're going on a little ego trip to see how many matches they can get. And then if you make like their second kind of sifting, you might get a message. And I was just like, because I now do stuff on TikTok, and I find that a really nice way to engage and sort of share what's going on for me in the dating apps. That was one of the ones I got really good engagement. I went, why do people do this? You match and then they don't reply to your message, or they don't message you. And they went, because they're replying, they're matching on everybody, and you're literally not even past their filter yet.
Yeah.
Because they've not looked. And I thought that's when I started to go, there's just no point. There's absolutely no, everybody's really complacent. It's that kind of, and I do think there's a lot of people that do it for an ego trip. They've got no intention of messaging or meeting up. They just want to see how hot they are because of how these sort of matches they get. And then the other reason why I think it's particularly bad for your mental health is because it feeds ego. And they're really addictive. They're really addictive. Like, oh, I'll just go on and just like, because you're constantly like thinking in the back of your mind, if I'm not swiping, I'm missing somebody potentially who's going to be the new love of my life. And I have to be on there and doing stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to miss out on something. And now I'm just like, it's all trash on there anyway. Leave the trash where it is. And it's actually pushed me more towards, I think I've got like, I think I need to go back to therapy because I've still got some big issues with trust. But it's maybe I find it impossible to trust people if I've only interacted with them online before, leading in that to meet them. And it's made me go, I don't care if it takes me way longer. I think I just want to meet someone in person and click with them and maybe sort of meet somebody that way. So I've kind of gone beyond dating apps. Sorry, lots and lots of talking.
Oh no, I like that's the whole point. So you can't want to talk about dating apps, absolutely. One of the things I've done is I went and had a look at some of the weirdest dating apps I could find. But just before that, we were talking about, how kind of shit some of them can be. I have not been on this app because I'm not interested, but I've been told some Grindr stories that are one of the things I found about Grindr is it tells you how far away the person is in feet.
Oh my God, no, that would freak me out.
I'm like,
that would freak me out.
Look, literally, it's a gaydar. And I'm like, how, I don't need to know if Peter 23 is sitting in the other side of the room with me. That's weird.
Yeah, there's another one really similar to that where it almost like lets you know if you've passed each other in the street. I was like, no, that can't be good. That can't be a good thing.
Yeah. But some of the weird ones I found. So we've got Mouse Mingle. What do you think Mouse Mingle is about?
Is it about people who like to be furries?
No, it's not. This is from glamourmagazine.co.uk. I'll have to put a link because I'm using that as the source. A dating site for Disney fans. Find your Mickey or Minnie.
Oh, that's quite sweet.
This one tells you gluten-free singles.
Right. Because they've just got so fed up of not being able to go out and eat anywhere.
Yeah. I think this is the weird one. Singled out. Now, remember how we were talking about how creepy the other two were? This one matches you through your DNA.
Right.
That sounds like some kind of Black Mirror episode, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's a couple that come up on my sort of targeted ads. Curvy Dating, which I think is quite...
I heard you talk, yeah.
That's quite like. And Fitify is the one where I was like, hang on a minute, because this is where, because obviously I just have conversations with TikTok because I live alone and I don't have anyone else to talk to. So I'll go, hang on a minute, TikTok. First of all, you said it'd be curvy dating, so you're sensing I'm a larger lady. What you doing sending me Fitify, which is basically for people that've got crushes on the at the gym. I'm like, I'm one or the other.
Trying to find your PT.
Yeah, or a TikTok saying "Get to the gym, cubby," and you'll find love
Honestly,
there instead.
I need that on TikTok is for them to tell me to get to the gym. Like, honestly. There's some of the good ones, like muddy matches. That's for people who
Right,
like to go out and hike or, mountain bike, get
that's
muddy,
cool.
that stuff. Trek dating.
Oh no, is that like
It is
Spock's?
sci-fi obsessed people, but specifically Star Trek fans. Farmers only.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because I grew up in a rural part of the country, and you would have to really buy into that sort of way of life.
Mm. Twin dog.
And what's that?
That's people who want to date with their dogs. Not
Oh,
not date
or
their
do they want their
dogs.
dogs
Like
to date?
they want to date someone who also has like a dog they like.
Yeah.
Um, Sizzle.
Oh, sizzle.
Sizzle is that will find a match for you designed on what kind of meat you like. So if you like smoked bacon, it'll find you someone who likes smoked bacon.
See, on my other podcast, would have gone into riotous like double entendre.
Yeah. Inner circle.
Oh gosh, so is this like recommendations from friends?
No, this is people who deem themselves well connected and employed in the right kind of job. Rich people.
Oh dear. There is one. There's one just for millionaires as well. It could have been set up by the Tinder swindler. We don't know.
I've heard about the Tinder swindler. That's maybe that's another thing is the fact that people get so enamored by some people they meet online thinking they're the real person, and it's like, here, look, can you send me 10 grand? Yeah, like how charming and how much are you so infatuated with this person that you send them 10 grand?
Well, I don't want to give anything away in case everyone's not seen it, but it's just known tactics of a narcissist. So that's another subject that I could go on for hours about. But narcissists are so good. They are so good at making you believe that they're more important than you, to a point where, I mean, it's where it would fall down for me and him, because I wouldn't be able to get him 10,000. I would be able to get him a tenner. So I'd be dropped like instantly by him. But yeah, they're so good manipulators. It's really scary. And if you ever watch a friend be kind of overcome by a narcissist, it's such a scary kind of thing to see, because you probably lose friends to them, and you just keep your fingers crossed that they'll come back one day because they'll break free of it. There was another one called I think it was called Puppet Master, and that was on Netflix recently as well, and that was a completely different type of story. But just like the ability to just sort of, people will just remove themselves from their friends and family.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Do you think that's why there are still women today that infatuate themselves over killers like Ted Bundy, and it's the fact that they're that much of a narcissist that even speaking about them, and it's weird because part of me is like that because like it's I bet he's sitting down wherever he is in the afterlife going, like that bit of Spider-Man, they love me, like is that, and you heard stories about like women sending him stuff in prison, and you're like, he killed 8 women, right?
That I do struggle a little bit, like knowing what he did. I could get my head around women sort of going along with him that he met in person.
Yeah.
Because, and this is like the thing that I'm sort of talking about. So when I first went on the dating apps, if you're vulnerable in your mind, in your mental health, people that know how to take advantage of that will take advantage of that really quickly. So I remember the guy that I met when I first came out, he found out really quickly that I was really, really fresh out of I was still living in the same house as my ex-husband. We were separated, but he hadn't moved out. So he knew how new that was. And because he'd been through it, he must have known kind of like the kind of thoughts. And he just took advantage of that. And he kind of sold me the story of, because I think I used to go, I thought we were soulmates and things like that. And he used to go, yeah, but we're soulmates. It's good that you've split up with him because now we've met. Now we'll get to be together, and it's become such a great story for us. And he would have known that that is the one thing when you first come out of a marriage, particularly if it's not your decision, all you want is to hear, it's gonna end happily for me. I'm gonna be okay. Someone else is gonna love me, and it's all gonna be fine. They know what to do. They know what to say.
Oh, do you know what's so weird though? I like, you know, I can accept the fact that I was 16 when this happened. But when I met one of my ex-girlfriends, it's like I fell for my own bullshit with that.
Yeah.
Because, oh god, the story of how I met my ex-girlfriend was weird, was because I was chasing after a different girl, and then after she rejected me very nicely, by the way. It was I'm flattered, done all that, but I'm actually seeing someone else, and I was like, oh, that's completely fine, you know, thanks for letting me know and not stringing me on. She went, and then the conversation got brought off. I was like, oh, what do you actually look for in women? And I just said, like, if I was on Build a Bitch, you know, this, there you go. And she went, that's funny, you've described one of my best friends. And then she added me on Facebook and all that. And, you know, I kind of told myself that. I was like, oh, I was after this girl, but because that didn't happen, this happened. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's rom-com heaven, isn't it? Because that's what happens in every rom-com. They chase after somebody else, and there was this person on the other side the whole time, but then they obviously meet, and then it's even better because they find each other. And I was completely sold into that, and just this, and I just don't believe in any of that now. Not quite as severe as I did, but I will kind of go, I don't believe in soulmates. I don't believe in anything like that, because I think too much belief in that is actually really toxic. So early when I kind of had this opinion of, no, we've got to fight for this. We're married. We made vows to each other. Yeah, that's really important. But if the other person doesn't want to be married to you anymore, that's really toxic to try and keep them in there and go, no, just work on it a little bit more with, you know, they've checked out, they need to go. So yeah, it's really, because that idea about being 16 and believing your own bullshit. Good. That's how you should be when you're 16. That's how you should be. You want to believe in that. You should believe in true love, because you hopefully haven't had your heart broken too many times. So you should still believe in that. And that's good. But you get to this age and you kind of going, I think you kind of get that better understanding of that character in the film that's kind of like in the corner of the bar or something, sort of smoking and going, yeah, I loved once. Look where it got me.
You want to be a star? I can make you a star. You want to be in the movies?
I used to be in the movies.
What's my name? Harvey. Oh, other weird sites. What we've got? What do you think? Shorter singles. Who's that?
Shorter.
Shorter singles. Yeah.
Yeah, the little shorties that we're all swiping left on.
Okay. What about taller singles?
That's lovely leggy blondes like me.
Have you seen this? Like it's quite interesting. One thing I found when I was on Tinder for the first time is I would match with some people, and then they'd find out I'm under 6 foot and unmatch with me.
Oh.
And I'm like, but you said you like my dog. Like, I thought you were here for the dog.
So I'm going to go a bit shady now, because height's one of my deal breakers when I'm on them, but not that people have to be over 6 foot, just be the same height as me. I'm 5'9". I'm quite tall for a girl. So I just said 5'9" would be my preference. And plus, I did date a guy who was shorter than me, a couple of inches shorter than me. I was fine with it, but he moaned about it all the time. He just made comments all the time. I was like, this is why we don't date you, because you won't shut up about it. We could just get on with life.
I was the same for a while. I was a case like, it sucks. Like, I went through a phase of I hated it if a girl was taller than me. Now I'm 5'7". There's a lot of girls that are taller than me.
You would make my filter, yeah.
But no,
wow.
Now I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
Good.
Like,
that's good. That's what we should get to.
You know, sure. I'm like if I see a tall lady, I'm like, you are fucking massive. Like,
I don't wear heels. I don't wear heels. I can only wear flats because
I actually I knew a girl who was naturally 6 foot who would wear 4-inch heels.
Good for her.
And she's like, just because I can. And then one day, she came out with these big stomper, like goth stomper boots that are about 8 inches to your height, and I'm like, are you trying to like see eye level with Shaquille O'Neal? Like, are you actually trying to enter the stratosphere? Like, but yeah, that was kind of like a real ego buster on that.
It's unfortunate, isn't it? But I would be a bad person if I didn't put my hands up and go, that has been a reason I've swiped.
There were some really weird ones. It was like, oh, only want guys with blonde hair, only want guys with blue eyes. Then why have I matched with you? Like,
yeah. I mean, I think that's taking it a bit far on preferences.
Yeah, anything, preferences are preferences. There are some that are a bit, but yeah. There's dance passions.
Okay.
That one's kind of obvious, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about dead meat?
That's got to be vegans. The other way, butchers.
So people who are working in the death industry.
Oh, wow.
So pathologists, funeral organizers, forensic scientists, taxidermy workers. There's uniform dating. I've heard of this one before.
Yeah, I think that one's been going quite a while, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a start. But that's if you. But where that one's a bit silly. If it was for people that work uniform jobs, that would make sense. But you could also join it if it's one of your kinks.
Yeah, like a man in uniform, a policeman, firefighter, soldier. Starting up to uniform dating immediately. There's bristle beard.
Again, is that quite self-explanatory?
Yep. Taste buds.
Taste. I working as chefs and stuff.
This is for people who have the same music taste as you.
Oh, okay.
A likewise.
Again, similar interests.
For book lovers.
Oh, okay.
Now you ready for this one? Women behind bars.
Now, is it for actual prisoners or is it like prison guards?
Imagine what it'd be like telling the grandparents how you met. But yes, women behind bars is exactly what it sounds like. You match with a prisoner.
Oh my goodness.
There's like a weird kind of sector, like a little I was going to say industry, but that is a thing of like people who date prisoners.
There's just like, when's release date?
I get released in 2075.
That's interesting. That's specifically like women, because if we reverse that gender-wise, does that become even more uncomfortable?
Well, men behind bars.
I
just think it's weird if you want to date someone who maybe committed a homicide.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, imagine you meet with someone and you find out that they like murdered someone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, out of self-defense. It was straight, I didn't like him, so I just killed him.
Ted Bundy.
Like, why? I mean, each to their own, but why?
Yeah.
And then of course,
I wonder at like some of that is because there can be that thing that people have in their head, which is like, but I'll change them.
Yeah, that kind of like savior complex.
Yeah. So I wonder if that like really goes to town when for people that go, yeah, but he'd never do it to me.
I knew someone who used to purposely date like skinny white boys who used to do like Xanax and stuff, thinking that she could change them. She's now just taking Xanax herself, and I'm like,
oh dear.
Like, I could have told you that was going to happen. There's also wingman.
Yeah, so wingman must be recommended by a friend.
No, wingman is for pilots.
They're all so literal.
Yeah. I'm trying to find other weird ones. Oh, here we go. Date a golfer.
Oh God.
Diaper mates.
Oh no. Is that a particular kink? No.
You never want the story of how you and your spouse met to involve the mutual love and appreciation of adults who wear diapers.
Oh dear. Oh, no. I'm trying not to kink shame.
Clown dating.
Clowns.
As somebody who, for a while, had a fear of clowns.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was like a preteen. God, I'd murder a clown if I could. Do you remember when that thing happened? It was around that Halloween and people started walking about as clowns.
Yeah.
It started in America because the new It film was coming out, but then it went to the spiral and it went mental. Yeah, there was one walking about, and I generally put on Facebook, here, if you're the guy dressed as a clown, I've got a hammer. You come near me, you're getting done. Like, I was genuinely sitting, standing in my living room, being like, looking at the window, like, if I see a clown, I'm actually chasing him with his hammer. Like, I was not up for it. Not up for it at all. Equestrian singles.
Okay. Yeah, well, I quite like it because I don't like horses. So, or horsey people. So I'm quite happy for them there.
It's weird because I do like horses. I've got nothing to do with them, and it's because I'm going to make myself sound a lot more upper class than I actually am. My family, well, my mum and my dad used to own 2 horses.
Oh.
And I used to ride them when I was a kid, and I'd love to go back. But it's the only reason I want to start horse riding again is because I played Red Dead Redemption 2. And I was like, I just want to be a cowboy. I just want to like see them go, hello, darling. My name's Arthur Morgan. There's 420 singles.
420. No, what's that?
Really?
420.
420 singles. It's for people who like to smoke weed.
No. I mean, I no idea. Is that
you never even heard of 420?
No. What's that?
420 is the God. I'm showing even more of myself now. 420 is it's the God from right. It's based on. It's a reference to April 20th, which is National Weed Smoking Day.
Oh gosh.
The reason why it's 420 is because there's apparently a story of the school kids, I think it was in California, who would leave school, meet up at a friend's shed, and smoke weed together. And they always used to meet up at 4:20 in the afternoon, hence 420. I think that's the story. But honestly, I thought that was a well-known knowledge.
Oh, it probably is.
420 Blaze.
Oh.
Mullet passions.
Does anyone actually still have a mullet?
Mullets are popular now, especially with upper class rugby players.
Oh, interesting.
But one of the Scotland team right now has a mullet, and I was like, you know what? You pull it off, but there's other guys out there, like, I work at a club and there's guys that walk in with mullets, and I'm like, you should know better.
But then a mullet's a very dangerous haircut for a rugby player.
Yeah, you'd think so. But no, this guy came on. Business in the front, party in the back, 80s porno tash. Like, this is the fashion right now for guys. They want to look like some weird sleazebag.
I'm on board with the tash. I've championed many years that moustaches should come back out of Tom Selleck. So if that's happening, I'm quite happy.
Are you wanting like just the pencil mustache, or are you wanting the full like the 70s 80s porn man tash?
I want proper Tom Selleck in Magnum moustache, or I think he still has it, Richard and Friends as well. I want that. Basically, I want Tom Selleck, I think is what I'm saying. But yeah, moustaches should come back. They haven't properly come. That I thought with Movember, maybe that would be the one. But no, everyone just gets rid of them. But yeah, I quite like November now. You
know what? If you want a mustache, you need to start hanging around the metal and punk scenes, because it's weird. Mustaches have become a thing again in the metal and punk scene. There's a guy I'm friends with called Aaron, and he's got a magnificent mustache. And it's a proper, like, he just grew it out like kind of like, I used to call it the broom mustache, because it looked like their nose and their mustache was like a brush. And then he grew it a bit longer, and then he could twirl it, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Basically, you want to
I'm
look at
all
a man
for
and just
it.
hear that oh wicka, oh wicka, oh wicka, oh wicka, oh bonk,
Yeah.
donk, donk.
Absolutely, that's my era.
There's ugly schmucks.
I mean, that sounds very self-deprecating.
For people with low self-esteem.
Oh no! Oh no! But this is where again the bad side to me is going to sort of come out. People need to sort of. It can be quite frustrating to date somebody with low self-esteem, and actually that person needs to not be dating. They need to go and love themselves. So I don't advocate for that one at all. It sounds horrendous.
When I first met my missus, I was still a bit kind of self-deprecating, and it's just a case of if I make a self-deprecating joke, she'll just go, "Shut the fuck up."
That's good.
Like not like I like, yo, shut up. No, like, yo, shut the fuck up. How dare you?
Yeah, no, that's good, and hopefully that boosts you a little bit more every time.
There's the sea captain date.
Okay. Boat people.
The listen to the description. The good news is that you'll spend a lot of time on the open sea. The bad news is there's probably a 70% chance you'll be murdered and tossed overboard.
Was it pirates?
Look at me. I'm your boyfriend now. There's date my pet.
So again, I'm guessing this is like the dog one, but it's just having similar pets.
Yeah, it's not only do you have to win the girl or guy over, you also have to make sure their pet likes you as well, and your pets get along.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah. No, I'm saying right. There's, oh god. Do you know when it's like you don't want to name drop someone? I'm not going to. So we're going to call her Sarah, right? Me and Sarah have been friends since high school. Sarah moved up north for university and all that. I kind of still follow Sarah on Instagram. And then one day I noticed she starts posting this dude on Instagram. And I was like, oh, this is clearly, the man, right? And I start to get to kind of know the guy through her Instagram posts. And now I'm like, can you like break up so I can be your boyfriend's boyfriend? I want to date your boyfriend. Because she's about 5'3", I want to say. And she comes up to like his nipple. So I'm like, okay, this dude's clearly like 6'4", 6'5". Has a wicked mustache, right? Has a Shiba. Has a good paying job because he drives a BMW. Like, I'm like, okay. And like is a big gamer and stuff and a nerd. And I'm like, next time I'm up north, I'm gonna mention like, here, look, I know it's weird. Can I meet your boyfriend? I really want to meet him. I think me and him could be really good friends. But like that was just that it popped up because she's always posting pictures of their two dogs together. She's a very legally blonde type of person. You know,
nice.
that kind of girl. And she's got like a little terrier, like Chihuahua terrier looking dog, and you know it's adorable. And he's got a big Shiba, and I'm like, I want to cuddle both.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what him and
yes,
the pet?
Yes. From what it looks like he's in good shape as well. And I'm like, who is this man? who is this man?
Yeah, does he have a dad that I could get to know?
The reason I'm asking, I've got a friend called Emma here. Well, speaking of that, what's this kind of like this running joke I've heard? Because we spoke about it when we done the podcast on Decapod. What's this running joke with you and Terry where he just lists men and
not many episodes in. So the thing is, right, so Decapod, if anybody didn't catch it, it's all about us talking about a certain decade, and we started with the 90s because that was kind of the decade that Terry and I were both the same age. So we both like became teenagers when became 18 in that decade. And because of
you grew up in the 90s and you never knew anything about weed. That shocks me. Were you a goody two shoes?
Yeah.
You were in the library. Was.
I was, but I did grow up in a really boring part of the country. So I don't know whether that had something to do with
That's
it
where the
as well.
drugs are most rampant.
Well, it was. And then in which case I was just a goody that wasn't getting anywhere near any weed or anything like that. So because it's like our formative years, there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of crushes that I kind of had. But the problem there is I have all the standard crushes like Robbie from Take That, Ant and Deck, not just one of them.
Did you see them? Did you see them in drag?
Yeah, they looked amazing.
That was I was like, right,
this
is what money can do. This is this.
Yeah.
But
they looked really good.
So wait, Ant and Deck, was that in their? Oh, what the hell was it called? I was about to say Waterloo Road, Biker Grove. That was it. Yeah,
so we'd have noticed them in Biker Grove, but yeah, and then when they did their music careers, PJ and Duncan, Psych is the first album I ever bought. It's not something I'm particularly
Let's
proud
Get Ready to Rumble.
Yeah. So that's my party piece. Is if that comes on at a wedding or something, I can recite that perfectly. Or used to be able to. Yeah. So I have those standard ones from when I was 14, but I also have slightly quirkier ones. Like the one that sort of came up quite early is Jimmy Nail. You're probably too young to know who Jimmy Nail is.
Google him.
Okay. Wow. That's where it goes downhill.
At least it wasn't Jimmy Savile.
No, true. So Jimmy Nail used to be I know, attractive. I call him an attractive ugly man. So
he's got some nose.
Yeah, I know. The nose is part of the attraction.
You know what?
If I'm going to be honest,
he looks like he could pass for Christopher Eccleston's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm going to put that on screen for those watching on YouTube. Like, your opinion. Did you think? I hope they're like, yeah. It's going to be in the comments. You're a fucking weirdo. Like, just.
Yeah, that's 10 a penny. So I kind of have these quirky ones as well. And something that started to come up. So he released a song called Ain't No Doubt. And I think, if I remember right, it's about 1991. So really early into our sort of series, I was like, I'll have to have this because I'm in love with Jimmy Nail. And from then on, I go, he's on my list. And a lot of people come up and go, oh, he's on my list. He's on my list. And the joke is I'm not particularly choosy about who goes on my list. I'm just like him. Because I try to be like realistic. And so there's a really sad story that I told Terry once, which was even when I was 14 and I was crushing on sort of Take That, I just absolutely loved Mark and Robbie. But I had this thing where I was like, but you're not pretty enough for them, so you'd have to settle for Jason. So it's just like, I have this thing in my head that I need to be a bit quirky, because going for that kind of the golden egg of men is not going to work.
There was a thing I read recently, and it was like just like, like those Tab articles, Tab, you can write anything and they'll publish it. And it was like a woman going, "Dear guys, you think you're not good looking enough for us? Why? Talk to us." And then we're like, I wonder if women are the same. They see a nice looking guy and like, I'm not gonna talk to him. We're probably like, hi.
Yeah, I've swiped left on people because I'm like too hot.
I've done the same. I did the same.
And actually, I used to work with somebody who had a theory that the best relationships are when the people match in terms of attractiveness. So if you're on sort of same, so 2 7s, you'll be really happy and sort of similar, and it has to be like that. Otherwise, there will be trouble.
Like, I'm kind of the opposite mindset of like, you know what? If one of them's really attractive, like I look at me and my missus, and I'm like, well, someone has to bring looks into this relationship, so that's why she's here. I'm kidding. She's a very nice person. It was actually more just, I was more amazed at the start that there was someone that knew as much about Star Wars that I did, and had seen the Clone Wars, if not knew more about the Clone Wars than me. And I was like, no, keep talking, I'm listening.
So I always remember the thing that turned my ex-husband's head was when we were first talking. He was like, do you play Xbox or PlayStation? And I do Xbox. I went, I've got 2 actually, because I have one in the living room and one in my bedroom. And he was like, you got two? And I was like, yeah. I'm not gaming in the living room all night. And I always remember that. But I think that's a nice reason to sort of get talking to somebody as a common interest. That's got to be so much more important.
I think me and my missus is weird because we're kind of the opposite in terms of the stereotypical gaming couple. You know, everyone thinks like, oh, the guy's playing Call of Duty, Fortnite, Battlefield, you know, all that. And she's playing Minecraft, Stardew Valley, those kind of games. I've never seen one kick ass more at Call of Duty than she has. I'm just happy to be involved, and but I'm pushed. Like, I'm the one like, have you played The Witcher yet? Have you played The Witcher yet? She started playing The Witcher. I was like, yeah, but remember you can, like, you know, make different builds and all that, and you use that spell slot for that. She was like, this is too complicated. Just give me a gun.
Yeah, don't backseat game.
Oh, I'm awful for that. I'm surprised I'm not getting weird looks at the side of my eye right now of like, but no, like, it's like couples who game together will probably not have a child because they're too busy gaming.
Which I would celebrate that. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And again, one of my happiest moments in my marriage before we got married was we put Minecraft on and we made a lovely
Minecraft
little
is so
world.
good though. Minecraft is so
relaxing.
Simple.
Yeah.
I love Minecraft.
And I just remember that's one of my happiest days. It was before we had a child and things like that, so you could just spend an afternoon and evening. And it didn't start off nice actually. It started off he just came in and attacked, but then we built a little sanctuary together and it was lovely.
Yeah, I think what one of the moments I realized like, okay, this is definitely going to work is that it was weird because like we spoke a bit. We did the chats on the last podcast when Terry was involved, and we spoke about how I kind of got the tail end of the 90s stuff and got the 2000s stuff. One of the games I grew up with was Street Fighter, which is a new one coming up, by the way. I'm very hyped. I grew up with Street Fighter. People are like, oh, Mortal Kombat, no, Street Fighter. I will send Ryu on you all day. Chun-Li, yes. And she had some experience in it as well, and we played and she beat me. And I was like, okay, this is gonna work. Button mashing motherfucker. But still.
What?
But yeah, go like finding those I guess it's one of the good things about some dating apps is that you can find out the personality a little bit. You can kind of have a peer into it, and it helps. You know, there's some people that I'm like, okay, let's have a look. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
There's one actually with their pictures. Is there anything in a picture that was a massive red flag for you? Like if they have this in their picture, that's it. You're swiping. Yeah.
So if they don't have a top on, I find that I don't like it. I don't like it when you're out and about in summer. I'm like, look, this is England. It's not so hot that we can't wear. I just think it's unnecessary. So that of the classics, holding a fish. I don't know why guys are still doing that unless they're trying to like have a laugh about that. So holding the fish. But I have another one where this one won't be popular at all. If they've got a guitar, if I get an even sniff that the person's a musician, I'm like, no.
You're not a musician person.
I'm not a musician person at all. I can't bear the thought that someone is going to serenade me. I would want to vomit if that happened. And again, really briefly dated a guy who had a keyboard and he kept saying, I'll FaceTime and I'll play you a song on my keyboard. I was like, and I don't want, no. I just find that really cringy. And like those restaurants where people play violins and they come on the table, that would be my idea of hell. So yeah, holding a guitar. I also get a bit icky. I get a bit icked by it if people have pictures with their kids in it, because I'm like, I like the fact that people are family orientated and stuff like that, but I would not put a picture of my child where literally any random stranger could see it. I get guilty enough that I share a lot of stuff on Facebook, but I like to think that I've got that contained a little bit. So that always makes you kind of go, really? That's a picture of your child just out basically for anyone to see.
Mhm.
So that's not quite a deal breaker, but it would kind of get my that would be amber flag.
Yeah. For
Oh,
me,
and
yeah.
like, oh, sorry. I always have light
There's
bulb
another
moments
one.
afterwards. Yeah, I was just like, this isn't a red flag, but it's kind of like sometimes like it's just they're always group pictures, and you're
Yeah,
like,
no, I get that
and I
one.
know that girls do this as well, and I think guys can be quite harsh and go, I'm going to assume you're the pretty one, so if you're not, then and it's that. So I kind of get that as well. I'm like, don't make me guess which one you are.
Yeah.
And also, and I'm like really well behaved with this. All my pictures are within 6 months, so they're all recent pictures, and I love the ones which are almost like a timeline. Sort of like see them gradually getting older the more that you sort of run down. I'm just
Mhm.
like, just put what you look like now. You've just got to, because if you make it to date one, but I don't get like the process behind that. I'm just kind of like, what are you hoping is going to happen
Mhm.
when I get to finally meet you if you're way older than what
Yeah.
you said you are? So the group one and really old pictures. Again, I was on a date last September, and it was quite funny actually, because I was on the date and one of the photos that the guy had used, he went, oh, it's come up on my Facebook memories. Look, 5 years ago. And I went, yeah, 5 years on your dating profile. Do you think that's a current photo?
Mm.
Oh, I'm not going to come across very well in this. Sorry, everybody. This is why I'm off because I'm too superficial.
I mean, honestly, I can't say I was any better. Because I've got to think I'm a bit self conscious about my body. I always kind of have been. But a lot of my pictures were kind of old ones. I did have on my bio warning: I am 3 times the size of now in these photos due to lockdown. But no, like my issues are because at the time I was a paintball marshal. 2 of the pictures were me in my gear, which means you couldn't see my face. It was just literally one of the pictures was just. I'm pretty sure it's one of my old Facebook profiles. If you go on my Facebook, you go through my profile pictures, you'll be able to see the one of the pictures I used. Hold on. Going through my photos now just to see. Why can't I see my own profile? It's like I've blocked myself. I mean, to be fair, on Facebook, my cover photo was me with short hair, and I don't have short hair anymore. So I think one thing for me is that I just didn't think there was enough nice photos of me that were worthy of a dating up. There you go. There's one for that was my old so yeah.
But the thing there be the challenge back would be, and you get dating app coaches now, they would say you need to go and take photos specifically or especially for your dating profile if you really kind of want to put the best of you there. So another one that sprung into my head when you said paintballing is, this comes up a lot, holding guns. And I did a TikTok about this.
Wait, that comes up a lot? Like, are you matching with guys like who aren't in the UK?
I don't know, but like on shooting ranges and stuff, but like full on assault rifles. I'm like,
look at me, I'm manly.
Yeah, and I'm like, we've got nothing in common. If you think that's cool, I will never ever think that's cool.
I mean, oh god, I was weird because I was a case of like, okay, I'm not showing off the gun, but it's more of like, I can actually hit things with it, like. So like,
yeah, no, that's different. I think it's just that. Yeah, but that's another one. Yeah, holding a gun, swipe left. Yeah,
I guess on my side of that, I didn't have many, but one of the main ones that was like, was, do you know the classic girls' night out pose? The big tumbler glass of gin, or it's always pink gin, or Prosecco, because Prosecco was awful. It's carbonated urine. Like, that's what it tastes like to me. You know, next to the door or in the, the corner, they've got a glass like that. They're smiling, but they've got the hand like that on their leg, like.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah. There's normally a like that. There's always a pouty one.
Yeah. God. I'm now just trying to, like, because I'm kind of a success story of me and Lauren, my girlfriend. I was going to say my current girlfriend, but like, no, I'm not going to say that. No, me and my girlfriend. There you go. I got the eyes now. But no, like, do you know what, Lauren? I'm telling you, I'm logging into Tinder, but it's just because I want to see your profiles, okay? I heard that. Hmm? I heard your sigh. To be fair, I deactivated mine. I don't think mine would come up anymore. Should we just judge? There we go. I can't. It says please enter a valid phone number. There you go. I can't.
Oh, there you go.
See, I deactivated mine. I done exactly what Tinder wanted. Have you seen these new apps that are like, oh, like I think it's Hinge that's like, oh, we were made to be deleted?
Yeah, Hinge is actually one of the better ones. I've had like the better conversations on that. There's a brand new kid in town though, which is called Thursday. And the concept of that app is you can only access it on a Thursday, but you have to also, and I have quite an unfortunate story associated with this app, right? So you have to sort of match, chat, and they do like after parties also on a Thursday. So I think kind of like in the perfect scenario, you start chatting, you kind of indicate that you're going to be free on that Thursday evening, so you would be available for a date. So the idea is you don't spend the whole week on a dating app. You go one day, you sort it out, and you kind of arrange to meet all on that one day. I only knew that the app locked itself at the end of a Thursday. So I thought you match. If you message each other, it'll lock, but you can still talk the next Thursday when it opens up again. So I like had this moment with this guy where we were chatting, and he kind of went quite quickly like, so shall we have a date? And I was a bit like, oh God, no, don't rush it, because that's one of my red flags is when people try to rush stuff. I'm like, don't like that. And then he was like, maybe we should move this to WhatsApp as well, so maybe like we could swap numbers. And then I was like, I don't like giving my number out like really early doors. I like to chat. I don't see what the problem is. And that's another red flag for me. I'm like, why can't we chat on the app? That should be absolutely fine. So anyway, there was like this whole thing around so I kind of gave this guy the cold shoulder, and then I was like, oh fuck it, and like to a point where like just picture the scene. So we were chatting, then I got a bit of an ick because I was like, yeah, I feel like he's moving things way too fast. Then because kind of had an evening, and he sent me a few more messages, and the last message was just like, are you okay? Like that. And I was like, well, went to bed, thought I'll deal with him next Thursday. Open up the app. No. It doesn't save you messages. It deletes everything. It wipes your slate clean, and you have to start again the next Thursday. So this poor guy had gone from being like, we'd had like this really nice chat. Then then basically this guy thinks I ghosted him. And I was like, I'd never ghost anybody. I would always kind of go, it's not for me, or something like that. So yeah, Thursday is a really interesting one, but I actually think it preys on trying to push things really quickly. So I've got rid of that one now as well, because I'm never going to be able to get my head around surrendering my number out to somebody the same day that I've started chatting to them.
Yeah. If you remember, we talked about like the other ones, like we said Match.com as well. I was going to ask you if you got any like big horror stories, but then I just remembered this one. So the dude who invented Match.com, I've heard that his wife left him for someone she met on Match.com. And I'm like, that's I bet he thought about
herself on it.
I bet, yeah. And then I think we talked about like how weird, I think we're just referencing the last podcast now. We talked about how kind of weird predatory and weird how messed up some songs were back in the day, like, you know, the Pina Colada song, like that's messed up. But yeah, so I was gonna. What have you got any like real horror stories from dating apps?
So not really. There was the first guy that was it was just of all the people to meet when you first come out of a marriage, really unlucky it was him. there was a guy that was the self-proclaimed nice guy. So that's now a new red flag.
The r/nice guy.
That is now a massive red flag for me. If someone goes, oh, I'm just a nice guy. I'm like, you're going to be the worst guy ever. He was actually the worst breakup I've ever experienced. And kind of like went to a level of the only person I've ever had to block. So that's quite, because just constant kind of aggressive messages and things like that. You kind of go, not so nice now, are you? So that one was the scariest one, because it was that thing of, that's when I started really getting in my head around, he kind of knew where I lived, and it's that thing of
that's weird.
Then you start, so then you kind of like, when it goes wrong, then you start going, I actually don't know these people that well, and that kind of thing. I've got a dating story, which I don't think the guy I dated would ever listen to something like this. So this happened on a date as opposed to a dating app, and this was where we were on date 3. And I was kind of on the fence about the guy, so I don't think he realised. I think he was like, date 3.
Is he one of the guys that thinks is like, the 3-date thing? That was that was off. Oh, what, you know what? American television, you've spread some shit about dating that it's. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, so we were going, and for me, it was a bit of a. So I'd had like a couple of dates with him, and it had been like quite heavy on the drinking, because that's what I do. And I'd kind of gone, right, I want to do something a bit different. I kind of want to go and do something. So there's a board game cafe in where I live. And I was like, can we go to that? I said, I might have one drink, but then I'm going on to soft drinks. And it genuinely meant that I was like, I don't want to drink. I want to see if we can just hang out and do something. So and like board games, that is like my geek corner of the world. That is the one that, and like that was something me and my ex-husband used to do, so it's important to me that is something that I can do with a new partner as well, because I have about 200 board games that I would still like to play. And so go to this board game cafe, and I'm like, this is all good. And it comes to like the part where I want to order drinks. So I'm just like, get myself a nice cocktail. And he goes up, and he sort of said he's a bit of a snob for beer. And he went, I'm going to have to go up because I want to go and see what beers they've got. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So off you go. Yeah, you do you. And so, we like, ordering a cocktail. And he came back and he looked really flustered. And I was like, oh, and he went, falling out with the bar staff. And I went, because obviously you're joking. And he was like, no, I've 100% fallen out with them. They reckon I'm being rude, and I just don't know what's going on. And I was like, how the hell has this gone?
How has this happened? What have you done?
Choose a beer to I've fallen out with the bar staff. Anyway, like the bar staff comes trotting over to him and starts to sit down. She went, right, I think we've got off on the wrong foot, but let's have a chat about what it is you're looking for. And then he just sat there and he went, but will you admit you were wrong? Will you admit you were wrong? Will you admit you were wrong? Just sat there.
What was she apparently wrong about?
About whether or not a particular beer was citrusy. And it was like and for me, I'm not at Terry again with Terry listens to this and be like, you fucking are, but I'm like, I'm not confrontational at all. I'm quite easygoing. So all I can get my head around is I really like gin. If I looked at a menu and I really like rhubarb gin, but if there wasn't any rhubarb gin on the menu, I just wouldn't have gin. I would just have something else.
Yeah.
So my thing was just, so she did come over. She was trying to apologize. And he was like, but will you admit you're wrong? Will you admit you're wrong? And she was like, I don't think this is about right or wrong, but we will give you this beer and you can have it complimentary to make up for this misunderstanding. And then he went, I can't have that one because it's too high percentage. And basically it was just like something. So then I just kind of went, so clearly we have to go. We just had to get our coats.
Yeah, and you would have went, you know what? Nah, you can go home, pal.
Well, so kind of saw the day out because I was like, I'm a single mum. So that child I was like, fuck this. And then I did, and then I drank and drank and drank to drink the awkwardness away. And then messaged him the next day, because this is where it kind of gets, there was probably like a good night smooch, which then had to be sort of taking when I'm sobered up. The next
I was
day it's that kind of
intoxicated, so
"Oh."
I had to be intoxicated to put up with your shit.
It's just so I would think that was like one of where I was like, I just can't do this, because if I can't even meet somebody that could, it was just that whole thing of like it was that all or nothing kind of thing that sort of came out. So, but I think I've been quite lucky, but I'm also really guarded because I have a son. So I'm not gonna if
Because
I
if
was like
anyone who you
10
got into a relationship with would also have to,
Exactly. And they would go nowhere near my son for many, many, many months. So it's that I would keep them so separate, but you are so paranoid. Be paranoid enough if it was just me that someone's going to come into my life who's going to break my heart. But if anyone comes in and breaks my son's heart because they just kind of come in and then fuck off and or anything, or they were like shitty to my son, then that's like a whole different story. And I think this was like the deal breaker for that guy for me was, that's all very well and good having that attitude, and maybe you chalk that down to they just rubbed him up the wrong way. But I'm like, what if my son's a stubborn little 4-year-old? Are you going to ease up on him?
Yeah.
Or are you still going to are you going to wind him up? Or even like my dad, when you meet my dad, if my dad thought that beer was citrusy, would that also think so? But where I was proud of myself was Emma from a few years ago would go, I'll give him another chance. But now I just go, no.
Yeah, fuck off.
See the flag. This isn't for you. Step away.
Yeah. Oh, no, thanks. That's absolutely. That's a good one. And do you know what? Like, back to what we're saying, I was telling you about the really, really bad apps, like the really awkward and really weird ones. So if I told you there was an app out there called Can Do Better.
Oh no. That's not putting up your current, is it? No.
It's putting up your current relationship, then the people vote on who could do better, and the person who could do better joins the site.
Oh no.
Imagine see if I found out that like my relationship was on the app, I would no longer be in a relationship. That is
no.
And then, are you ready for this one? Herpes fish.
Herpes? Oh, is that because so that just takes away like an uncomfortable conversation, essentially?
Because everyone on that app has herpes.
Lovely. So they don't have to worry about giving it to them.
There's Amish dating.
Okay.
Vampire passions.
Hang on a minute. Isn't it like a big part of the Amish community that they don't have technology?
I think it's for like previously Amish people.
How are they finding out about it?
How about naturist passion?
That one makes sense to me. You need to, again, do you know what I like about some of like these ones is they remove uncomfortable or embarrassing conversations for people, because they know that you don't have to try and get somebody into that. You already know that they're going to be happy to swing free with you. That makes it sound like like I am fully clothed on this. Like right. I'm not of that community.
Marry me already.
Oh no.
Everyone's ready to get married, so there's no casual dating.
No.
There's a good chance your first dinner will be your rehearsal.
No.
That's actually one thing I don't understand about weddings in general. What's up with you have to rehearse it?
Yeah. Wow. Do you know what though? It's massive for removing the nerves, because you think it's dead simple. You just turn up and say I do, but it's amazing like how much you can get in your head about. I think particularly for the woman, I know it sounds stupid, but that thing of like when you walk down the aisle and everyone starts saying stuff to you like, don't walk too fast, such and such walk too fast, and then there wasn't enough time for her music to play, and then you start going, oh, what if there's not enough time for my music to play? I really like my song that I'm coming down the aisle to. Oh my God, I'm going to mess all of this up. And and then nothing matters on the day because it will all go fine. But I can get my head around like a rehearsal.
Then, of course, you know, the one we talked about earlier, the furry mate.
Yes.
Yep,
But again, best to know.
It is, especially with that stuff. That's a very specific thing.
But is that like? Does that include the people that like to keep their other halves as a puppy?
No, I think that's something else. And again, I'm always like, each to their own person. You know, do what you want. There's some things I'm like, nope, I will not go there. There's another version. There's positive singles.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's for dating for people with HIV.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, again, that I get. Yep, I understand that one.
Yeah, I do.
I found one for you.
I'm worried.
Stash passions.
Oh, what's that?
How do you like your mustache? Stash passions will help you find a husband with a mustache just the way you like it.
Yes. I've written it down.
We've found, there we go. If there's one thing to take, stash passions.
Yes.
You know, there's other ones, you know, like metal dating, which is metal fans, hot sauce passions, people like hot sauce, prescription for love. If you have a health condition or disease.
Oh.
King snake after dark. That's for snake lovers. Singles with food allergies. Find your face mate for people who have similar faces.
So you want to look at someone that looks like you?
Oh, there's one called fat bastard dating.
Oh.
Things. I think you have to have some form of confidence if you want to go on a website called fat bastard dating.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much. There's so many weird ones out there. I remember for a while I kept getting adverts for Indian singles.
Uh-huh.
And it was a date site for Indian people.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know if anyone here can tell. I'm not Indian. So that was weird. Have you got any weird ones recommended to you apart from that stash one?
No. The Fitify. Oh, so what happened was, so I went speed dating towards the end of last year, and I hated it, and basically made a TikTok. And the TikTok is awful. It's me bursting into tears like when I get back because I'm like, it's horrible and stuff like that. The very next day, TikTok sent me lesbian pictures and then so have lesbian and you know what? The longer I go kind of like being unsuccessful, the more tempting I'm like, maybe that's something I want to explore. Why not? Why not explore that a little bit?
You know, if you said you're into tabletop, generally play Dungeons and Dragons, there's a lot of my friends that have found out their sexuality or their gender through Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's something you could even look into.
I will do.
Well, Emma, dating apps, mustaches, horror stories, what you look for in a Tinder profile. Oh, we've covered quite a bit on the dating profile front, and it's interesting because as somebody who, like I said, the dating apps worked for me, it's like hearing the perspectives of ones that didn't work for others, and also all the other weird sites you can go on. And I'm sure somebody listening to this is going to be like, oh, and they're going to have a look at it themselves.
Yeah, they're going to be like that furry one.
Mm-hmm. Well, Emma, thank you so much for coming on to Talking Shite. If you want to hear more of what Emma is doing, again, go listen to Decapod, where she talks about everything through the decades with her co-host Terry Cook, who hosts. Do I read the list out again? That's going to become my running joke on this podcast, is reading out Terry's podcast list. And of course,
about driving.
Yeah, the Crazy X Club as well, where you can get some tips on self-love after a break up and hear some stories about other people. And hopefully she won't have anything too tragic on that yet. We've not heard any majorly abusive stories yet, so well, I say yet, but
There might be.
That's gonna be the hard one.
Yeah.
It's the only episode that comes with a if you are affected by anything in this show, please dial the hotline.
No, there genuinely is an episode like that.
Oh, here we go.
Complete with a warning.
Complete with a warning. Well,
Yeah.
guys, thanks so much for listening to Talking Shite. Share with your friends and everything. As I say on my YouTube channel, put it on your toaster, all that stuff. And thanks a lot for listening, guys. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks so much.